Today we explore Castle Rock, Colorado, one of Haley and I's most favorite Denver suburbs. Everybody talks about the Rockies in Colorado, but they never talk about the Ancestral Rockies, which is what makes Castle Rock so beautiful and where it gets its iconic name, Castle Rock, from the Rhyolite stone that put this place on the map to what it's like to live here today. We're gonna take a look at one of our houses around here as well and give you just kind of a full view of what it's like to live here in Castle Rock. So, this is a Radically Colorado adventure you are not going to want to miss. All right, I think it's real natural to start by the railroad here, going by one of the old mercantiles. Get a little farther from it, and then you can see the iconic Castle Rock right there. The Ancestral Rockies, I guess we should start there. They were here long before the Rocky Mountains, hence the name, the Ancestral Rockies. Listen, I'm not a geologist, but in my limited study of this, there was a mountain range here before the Rocky Mountains and the tectonic plate movement that formed the modern Rockies, which are straight to our west. And these Rockies once dominated the United States and were here in the time of the dinosaur. And their remnants are all of this Rhyolite stone around us here in Castle Rock. Because of its geology, some really valuable stuff was left here, and a lot of the Rhyolite stone that was mined here in Castle Rock and really gave it its economic prominence was used to build a lot of things in Denver, like Union Station and so forth. There are a lot of buildings that implemented this like really good Rhyolite stone. Here's this mercantile. Isn't that cool? Right here along the train tracks. So, Colorado is really a story of valuable minerals and then a rush to go get those minerals. You gotta watch our video on the railroad wars that happened in Colorado that really literally shaped the economy here in Colorado. We're gonna talk about two of those players here today, and one of them is significant. But before we get there, let's talk about the founding of Castle Rock. Was founded and some land was given away by a gentleman with the last name Gould. No connection to the Jay Gould that we will be talking about here, apparently, is the story, but he just donated some land. He was a local rancher and said this would be a good spot for a town, and that is what made Castle Rock. But what really made Castle Rock is this railroad right here. The railroad wars, like I said, was a competition. It was who can extract the minerals the best. But the cool thing about Castle Rock is you don't have that elevation gain to get to the gold and the silver and some of the other valuable hard rock mining that was in the mountains. Not the Ancestral Mountains. So these Ancestral Mountains lay just a little bit higher than Denver, but it's relatively flat getting here. You'll see that on Interstate 25 when you drive here from Denver. So if you take a look at this railroad, it's unlike the railroads that you're going to see in elevation in the Rocky Mountains, because look, straight as can be, flat as can be, which is a really valuable thing when you're building a railroad. Jay Gould and all the railroad magnates were thinking only about getting to the gold, but they were distracted. So enter William Palmer. William Palmer is definitely one of my favorite elites of this time because William Palmer's doing crazy stuff. William Palmer is the guy that did all of Colorado Springs. He developed it as a resort town, this place of healing. He opens the Antlers Hotel. He's a big entrepreneur, and he's local. So he doesn't like these Jay Goulds coming in and buying up all the railroads. And he thinks, I could build a railroad to my city, Colorado Springs, call it the Denver and Rio Grande, and we'll have easier access into the mountains from the south, and we can get all that valuable stuff that is down like really far south in the Mexican territory at this time. And we don't really need that much engineering. We don't need to come up with the Georgetown Loop like we've talked about. So that is what put Castle Rock really on the map. This rhyolite stone, it's valuable. Colorado Springs directly to our south. And William Palmer is this local entrepreneur that, you know, in the face of sneezing on people like Jay Gould, develops this rail line, the Denver and Rio Grande, which puts Castle Rock on the map because now it's easily accessible from Denver, and it still is with the 25 today. And with some expansion of infrastructure here, it transgress. So the Denver and Rio Grande comes to the scene and makes Castle Rock really start to be the supply outpost of Denver, which is why we see a lot of the buildings in Denver coming from Castle Rock and the rhyolite stone that's in Castle Rock. Palmer, like I said, kind of team Colorado, in my opinion. And he's trying to take down Jay Gould. So like these people actually got into a bloody fight. Like guns were used, and it was called the Battle of the Royal Gorge. The Royal Gorge was a prominent position because you had to get through it from the south in order to get to Leadville, which is where a lot of the silver's happening at this time. It's a really valuable route, and it's a race really for all of these railroad companies to get to Leadville and then eventually to connect all the way west to the Pacific Ocean, because there's this grand idea, sort of how the interstate sweeps the country later, about a transcontinental railroad, you know, from East Coast to West Coast, all one line. And a problem was the Rocky Mountains. That's why it eventually bypasses, because over Colorado, a lot of it. But there's a big fight to make one through Colorado because Colorado has all of these valuable minerals. So the Battle of the Royal Gorge, there's two railroads that are really approaching Leadville, and they both need the Royal Gorge. One is the Santa Fe, which its main beneficiary and owner is Jay Gould. And the other one, our friend old Mr. Palmer, the Denver and Rio Grande, which goes through this very city in Castle Rock. So they both stand off there, and people die. If you want to hear more of that story, you got to watch our railroad battle video. But so people get bloody. There's a bunch of court battles that happen after this, and then Denver and Rio Grande wins. They get to continue to use this pass to Leadville, and Santa Fe doesn't, but they both eventually get conglomerated, I guess, into large railroads, Union Pacific and BNSF. Transgress. Here I am at the police department. I'm walking around downtown Castle Rock here, so you can get that there's real charm. It's not just your like cookie cutter. You see me walk by some historic structures. There's Festival Park right over here. So Castle Rock is, because I feel like it has that historic actual legacy and those historic roots, unlike some of the suburbs as much, like Aurora, like Arvada and Golden. All of those were railroad cities going into the Rocky Mountains. This was a railroad city that was south of it, and because of that, it's got some charm, you know? And it's got some actual small businesses. But this is very different than the Castle Rock that you'll see as you go through Interstate 25. Although we're right off of Interstate 25 right now, this is still very different because you don't feel it. It's just right over there. You don't really see this from the highway. Although there has been this construction all around us of some mid-rise condo buildings that have happened in the past 5 years since COVID. A ton of these have been added. Some of them are rentals, some of them are condo buildings down here, and integrated in that is parks like Festival Park. All newer infrastructure, and then you come over here, and I'm at the intersection of 2nd and Perry, walking towards the Castle Rock, and you start to get some more charm. Like you turn it around here, got your classic historic downtown Castle Rock structures, these old 19th century look, and then plenty of local spots to go into. There he is. He's checking it out. This is a cool store, the barn over here. An old, what appears to be a general store. She'll take you in. And then this marketplace, eatery, lounge, all of these businesses here. An old church. And then just take a look around me. Kind of this idea of new and old, and the Castle Rock in the background. Let's go in the barn real fast. It's one of those structures you just can't not go in. Barn, antiques, and specialty shop. Sounds like a job. Here in the loft. That's what I mean. Castle Rock's got these really awesome places. Love it. Let's keep moving. The reason I came in, I saw this greenhouse. So cool. Check that out. It's all right, and then we're back here. Let's keep walking a little bit of Perry Street and seeing some of these older structures and checking it out. Pretty cool place in there. Unlike so many suburbs too, because Castle Rock is in the Ancestral Rockies. It doesn't feel like you're in just like flat desert is what it feels like right now without we have no moisture here in Colorado. But Castle Rock, totally different feeling. Like it does give you that mix of feeling like a mountain town, but like not being the commute to one. Like 2 or 3 cafes every block here. This building, clearly styled like it's a older building, but it's not, you know. And we'll keep walking down here. Oop. Rule number 1 in Colorado, you gotta watch out for cars, you know? You just never know the we're gonna get close to this. We're getting closer and closer to the Rhyolite. You start to see, wow, what a cool project this would be to rehab what looks like an old boarding house here. Living super close to the main section here in Castle Rock. Oh! There's the coffee shop for the block. Bearded man. Sounds like me though. Maybe I should go in there and get a coffee, huh? This bearded man was established in 2017. My beard was established this year. Gosh, the smell in here. Cool, they got some CBD blends going on in here. So, they're shipping and packaging their Bearded Man coffee going around the United States. I bought my light roast in there. And here I was thinking I was buying a coffee. Guess what? Free coffee. So I just bought the beans and got a free coffee. It's a good deal, but you don't need to buy anything, is what she told me. I asked how many people asked that. She said her number one question is, she's not a bearded man. Do I really not have to buy this coffee? She said bonus points if you are a bearded man, so that I feel like I've got half a beard, so yeah, good times. Castle Rock, Colorado, seriously, amazing. And then I just sit here and I'm drinking this coffee looking at this boarding house. It's the only building in Castle Rock that really needs to be saved. Look at that, it'd be beautiful. It's also amazing. But it's given me, we gotta keep going because there's a lot in Castle Rock and we're spending a lot of time in this main street, which is cool, but we gotta accomplish this. This is a harder place to shoot for me because there is more stuff here. You know, like a lot of towns in Colorado, it's like that one street. Not this one. This is, yeah, obviously more than one. I'm gonna loop around and see a little bit more of the downtown here in Castle Rock. Its ebbs and its flows. I'm feeling good on coffee, right? I had to stop. There was one every block. And I think there's gotta be some, there used to be like a, back when Starbucks was like considered good. I don't think it is anymore. I don't know, comment below on your thoughts. There used to be like the latte index, and the closer you were to a Starbucks, the more valuable your house. Now I definitely think that's craft coffee shops. It's not breweries anymore. A lot of those are going out of business, although Colorado does brew, I think, the most beer per state out of any state. But like most places, there's been a consolidation, but there are plenty of breweries down here as well. There's everything you could really ask for. That's a music school right there. We're gonna turn the corner here and we're on Wilcox, which is like really one of your main drags here in Castle Rock. Let's flip it and see. You want an example of what a building looks like that's made out of Rhyolite stone? All you really gotta do is look over there at Castle Cafe Bar. They've got pan-fried chicken. Gosh, I wish I had more time. Look at that. That is a classic example of a Rhyolite stone building right there. And if you're walking in any town in Colorado, you might see a building that looks really similar to that wherever you're at. All right, here's 4th Street looking down. This beautiful building here, corner of 4th and Wilcox. People at Miss M's down there. And then the classic B&B. French kissed biscuits. Sounds pretty good to me. That place is always popping, folks. So you gotta check it out. We're really around here, like that town square with all the county offices over here. Let's go over here so we can get a little nostalgic. This is where Haley and I got married, right here. Graphic ceremony, people. Just a lot of people, it's a lot of money. So we just brought it over here to this courthouse, got married right here. There it is, marriage, licenses, and passports. Same place. Might be here again for a passport soon. But you see how this whole place was built around these county offices. And you've got a classic town square feel. Got it all right here. Barber shop, you got gardening store. Turning the corner. Gosh. Every part of me loves these old boarding houses. And you can see I really was by the Anomaly building in Castle Rock over there at Bearded Man. All of these buildings are kept so nicely. And at 3rd Street, we really start to see the intersection of old and new. And there's a whole new development over here. Just so many Class A rentals and then really nice condo buildings that have continued to develop Castle Rock to the south. And then also Crystal Valley stuff is down there, a ton of homes, continuing to develop Castle Rock to the south. And you can really see the mixture of old and new here. And I don't think any building summarizes Castle Rock more than that. This old Rhyolite chapel, and then new construction around it, and contributing to this great dining scene here in Castle Rock. Sliceworks has some really good pizza. We got homegrown tap and dough. Also pizza, also good. There's some other ones like in Littleton and stuff. But really good stuff there. Haley and I used to order homegrown like once a week. And then we're going to come back here to Wilcox Street, and then right in front of me you can see Castle Rock's really coming into prominence. 1904. Here's this Rhyolite building, which there's a plaque on it, but I'm gonna say, before we get to the plaque, I'm gonna say bank. Let's see if I'm right. Here you can see what I'm talking about. All that new. So just keep going down Wilcox. And you start to really feel that divide between old and new Castle Rock forming here. Let's see. Oh. So on the money with bank. You know, these people were the ones loaning to all of the miners, the ones really profiting. The bank's always the best looking building that's still standing because they built them to last. The thing is built out of solid Rhyolite stone. Look at this. The classic toy store. And we are going to wrap it up here. There's the Ecclesia, which is your church turned food hall down here. And I think it's gotta be my final stop. Yeah, we're going up. Not to worship, but for food. Look at this. Here, right there at Ecclesia. Let's check it out over here. Street tacos, bagels, pitos, pretty much everything. But we gotta get going. We got an outlet mall to go see. We've got the whole Meadows area to see where the hospital's at and the high school's at. And there's too much to do. So let's get rolling. All right, here we are, just a few miles from downtown here in Castle Rock. We're gonna take you into one of our listings, 754 Blue Teal, and you can see what $600,000 gets you in Castle Rock. And you might notice it's a little bit more significant than some of our videos in the metro. So Castle Rock not only gives you the great views, the great small town community downtown area, an outlet mall, every convenience that you could possibly imagine. You get better prices. And you're conveniently situated at the South Denver Metro by 225 to get to everything. So if you're South Denver centric, this is a great spot. Or if one person lives in the Springs and another person lives in Denver, this could be another really great spot to make both of your commutes accessible. So, all right, I'll stop talking. Let's check this one out. you can see, we've came over on Meadows Parkway, and we're over here at the Outlets by Castle Rock. And here we go, the land of deals. Castle Rock Outlet Mall on a Wednesday, folks. And there are people that are just walking around here, shopping it out on a Wednesday. Would you take a look at this beautiful outlet mall? I don't know why I'm sounding so sarcastic. I guess it's because in my town in Warrenton, there was an outlet mall and the whole thing kind of went out of business. It's now got some like local businesses and stuff, but used to have all of these. My first job was at Levi's. But this is a super successful outlet mall. This one, there is like, well, I haven't really seen a shop that's empty. Newsflash, folks, I came here, God, it was a while ago I ate in this place, and there was a food court, but now it seems like all the places around it put that out of business. This is just shops here, I guess. And got no food. My ex once had me get a jacket at Fjallraven. I don't know if I'm saying that right. That thing fell apart in like a week. $400 jacket. Probably $800 now with inflation. I don't get it. But some of this stuff, you know, do get. So honestly, it looks like my one option here is crepes, which it's not a bad option, but I think we're gonna move on. Welcome to Castle Rock Outlets, one of your premier outlet destinations in the Denver metro. There's this one, there's one up in Thornton. These are kind of your two bigger outlet malls. So this is the outlet mall of the south, and Thornton's the outlet mall of the north. And here we are, but like, don't come here hungry, because no food court anymore. That thing went out of business. I'm not gonna lie though, there are some stores here that you don't see in most places. And it is tempting to spend money. So what I need to do is strap on up and get out of here. I really hope you guys enjoyed this trip to Castle Rock, and this ride along with me and this beautiful suburb, and learning a little bit about the history of it. If you're thinking about moving here, of course we'd love to help. We have made this whole website, radicallycolorado.com. There's a moving here guide that has all the neighborhoods in Colorado, what our favorite trails are, what our favorite restaurants are, you name it, we got it. I wish I had more time for this video to go to some of my favorite restaurants. We've got to get up to Denver for another listing, so I really hope you enjoyed this Radically Colorado video on Castle Rock. Come on another adventure with us. Make sure to subscribe and like this one for me. Or don't, I get it.